You're watching a video and thinking, why can't I get my color grades to look as professional and cinematic as these? You've watched 100 tutorials, bought better gear, only to find yourself still unsatisfied with your final grade. Trust me, I've been there. In this video, I'm going to be showing you 5 color grading secrets that the pros are doing to separate themselves from the beginners, and the same tricks that I've used that have caught the attention of multi-million-dollar brands. Once you start doing these, I promise your color grading will instantly improve, especially with tip number 5. So let's get into it. All right, so the first thing I'm going to show you is how you should be using saturation. So if you were to go here and add saturation this way, it can actually damage your luminance values as well as your hues. And obviously that's not what we want when we're color grading. So as you can see here in the waveform, if I'm adjusting the saturation, it's also messing with the highlights and the midtones, and it's kind of getting real messy and everything's kind of falling apart. So we're going to right click, go to color space and set that to HSV. And then we're going to right click again, go to channels and turn off channel 1 as well as channel 3. And what this is doing is channel 1 is hue, channel 2 is saturation, and channel 3 is the value. So right now we are only working with the saturation. So once you do that, you can come over and use the gain slider, and that's going to add saturation a lot smoother. And as you can see on the waveform, I'm cranking it and it's not adjusting the entire image as much. It's only adding saturation to the richest parts of the image. So as you can see, without the saturation, with the saturation, so it's really smooth on the skin tones and everything's looking really nice and balanced. It's a lot more controlled and it's not ruining the luminance value or the hue. So another thing I like to use in DaVinci is called Editable splines. So we'll go to our curves, come to these 3 dots and make sure we have Editable splines turned on. And basically this just allows you to get a super nice and smooth S-curve. And in order to get those creamy and milky soft shadows, I'm actually gonna lift my shadows and bring down my highlights, and this kind of just compresses the image and you can still add a nice punch of contrast, but it's gonna be a lot softer. And so you can see right here, some of this detail is crushed or just super dark. You can't even really tell what's going on. But with Editable splines, you can see you get some of that information back and all the shadows just look really soft and milky while still getting a nice bit of contrast in your image. So something that has been a real game changer that DaVinci added is the color slice tab. And basically what this does is it automatically keys out all these different colors that they have listed here. So if I wanted to make adjustments just to my jacket, which is obviously yellow, I'd come to the yellow tab and I can move this slider to any different color. And I mean, look how perfectly that's keying it out. That is with no masking, no effects, just one simple click and drag, and I can change this jacket to whatever color I want. If I wanted to have some nice color contrast, I could set it to red, and then I can use these sliders here to adjust the saturation and also the brightness. And just like that, super easy, we've successfully changed the jacket from yellow to red. One of my favorite tools I like to use in DaVinci is layered nodes. So what I'm going to do is add a new node, Option S if you're using Mac, and then add another one, Option L, and that's going to add a layered node for us. So basically what this means is it's similar to like Photoshop where you have your layers and whatever is on the bottom is going to be what's on top, and then the nodes that you add above it are going to be the layers behind it. So if I wanted to key out his skin tone here, and let's say I just raise the highlights, add some contrast. I'm just pushing it so you guys can see better. And so let's say I made these adjustments to his skin tone, and then I wanted to make more adjustments to the shot, but I don't want it to affect what I just did to the skin tone. So like I said, this would technically be the layer behind it. So as I drag this, it is only affecting the background, and it's almost as if we have a mask around the skin tones. And so this is affecting everything but what we keyed out in this node. And so you can see if I were to do that without the layered nodes, I can come here, key out his skin tone again, make those same adjustments. And then if I were to try to change anything after that, it would affect what I just did to the skin tones. And as you can see, it's affecting the entire image and not what I keyed out in the layer behind with this node. Before I show you the last tip, I wanted to take a second and talk about my LUT pack I created that I've used on all my jobs, including campaigns for Prada, San Pellegrino, and the Virgin Voyages. It's also how I went from this to this. If you're a beginner, I can guarantee these will instantly improve your color grading skills, or if you're more experienced, they're still a great starting point and you can add your own touch on top of them. I've gotten a ton of positive feedback and they've already helped over 200 people improve their color grading skills, and you can purchase them with the link in my description. With that being said, let's get back to the video for the 5th and final tip. So the last thing I'm going to show you, and a mistake that I think a lot of people make, is when you go to add your node, a lot of people will start and they'll go ahead and throw the LUT on there. And then let's say you're adjusting the white balance, you're going to make that adjustment, and then maybe you're going to add some contrast. And basically by adding the LUT on the first node, now whatever adjustments I make after it, it is using the information from the color space of this node. So instead, you should always add your LUT on the last node of your tree. And so this allows me to make adjustments to the original S-Log3 and use all that dynamic range that comes with it. And so I can adjust my white balance here and then do those same exact adjustments, add some contrast. And as you can see, it even changes the way the colors affect the image depending on where the LUT is in your node tree. So a better way to understand this is we can go to the color warper and we can see already on the first node, the colors are being almost fully choked out and pushed to basically the max that they can go with this information. But if I go to my node tree with the LUT at the end, you can see the first node, I still have all this information to work with, and you can see I add the contrast, I still have all this room. And then at the end, when you add your LUT, that's when you push the colors to the max and get the most you can out of the image. So those are 5 different things you can incorporate into your color grading process to get your desired look. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and drop a like if you learned something new. If there's something specific you want me to go over, drop it in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.